Hey everyone, and welcome back. Now today we're going to be talking about ICP just to give a bit of an update on where we're at, what we're seeing, all that good type of stuff. So what we can see is it's becoming more of a mixed day on the market. We can see a couple ups, but a majority of what we're seeing here is still down. We are seeing ICP here 0.6% down on the day, so I would call that just about even. I think overall, looking pretty good there. What we can see though, looking at the chart, is we have seen a pretty decent sized pullback. We were sitting at highs at about the 1550 range. We wicked up several times into this area and got rejected every time. So I think what we are seeing here up at this level is we are seeing a pretty strong point of resistance here. So something that obviously will need to be tackled eventually, but for now at least we are looking like we have possibly found a settling point for price. I think things honestly looking pretty good at this price. We're still up a fairly decent bit from where we were even a month ago. And so, things looking good here. If we do zoom in a little bit, we can see kind of major points of support and resistance here. But if we zoom in, we can see we are actually trying to fight this level of resistance right now. We have been rejected once, twice, and now potentially a third time. Obviously, we have not seen this candle close yet. This is looking at the hourly. So, we've not seen this candle close yet, but if we were to be rejected a third time, I do think this is something that could potentially, maybe be a little bit of bad news, not necessarily terrible news, but obviously, I think it would be nice to show some strength and get realistically kind of above this $12.50 mark. If we look kind of going back at the chart, we can see it was a pretty decent point of resistance here, but we did find this as a level of support a couple different times as we kind of came up and we're retesting it on the downside. So if we could make it back over this $12.50 range, I do think this would be a pretty good thing to see. If we don't, not the end of the world. I do think it's important to definitely hold this $10.80 range. If we don't hold that, I think that's not necessarily the best sign. However, I do think overall, the ICP chart looking decent, right? I mean, obviously we've seen a pretty decent pullback, but if we were to go look at the dailies and we're to zoom this a little bit, what we can see is even over the past month or so, I mean, really strong move to the upside. We are seeing a little bit of a pullback. As I've mentioned in several of my videos, this is something that I would expect to see, right? I mean, this was a kind of a local high here, decent point of resistance. We've fallen on it several times as a support on the way up when we kind of stuttered a little bit here. So we have kind of found this as a pretty decent support. When we've wicked down both of these times, they've been obviously bought up very quickly, even up to these upper supports here. But I mean, definitely not making it too far through this level of major support. So I am looking toward this $10.80 range as a pretty decent point of support. And then from there, obviously, the next major point of resistance is going to be this $15.50 range. That's kind of like the next big thing, if you ask me. Now, looking at the RSI, what we can see is we were seeing overbought for a couple, or probably a several day period here in this point. And so now we have come back down to about even. RSI has kind of cooled off, leveled out a little bit, which I do think is a good thing. Overall, I think, this is a pretty healthy chart to see. We've seen a probably about 100%, just actually over 100% move to the upside. And then now we've come down, 30-ish%. This is pretty healthy if we can put some decent level of support here, and especially seeing these wicks at the bottom with this minor green candle, we could be looking to see, a continuation to the upside and maybe even taking another run at that $15.50. Again, given that we aren't truly in alt season at this point, a lot of this is kind of dependent on the wider crypto market, namely Bitcoin specifically, seeing what it does. Obviously, if Bitcoin kind of falls into this consolidation period, or maybe even it pulls back 20 to 30% like we have seen it do in the past, then obviously I would expect that even holding this $10.80 range, I do think would be a very strong affirmation of the strength of the ICP chart if we were to fall back down to some of these lows. Obviously not really the greatest of news, but we have not entered alt season yet, so a lot of these is kind of trying to judge the strength of the coin before we get into it. And so that's mainly how I'm looking at it. If you are interested in trading ICP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, whatever, anything for that matter, feel free to use my link in the description below. I am working with BTCC again for another month, and what we can see is we still have that 10% bonus on first time deposits. I think this is a fantastic deal. If you are looking to be trading anyway, I would say why not get a 10% bonus on your deposits? I mean, if you're going to put in, let's say $10,000, you'd essentially get $1,000 to trade for free. And if you can go and 2x it all or whatever, then you essentially would have made $2,000 that you wouldn't have had otherwise. And so that's something I do think is a really fantastic deal. And keep in mind, this is in addition to the extra bonuses of up to $10,055 per user, which obviously, you know, really great. So you can get those in addition to the 10% bonus. So this truly is just like free money in a sense, right? And then from here, we can also see BTCC been around for a really long time. So I feel pretty comfortable in the sense that, you know, they're probably not going to do anything super crazy. I mean, they've been in crypto longer than most of us have been. And so, you know, I feel pretty comfortable with that. Also, we can see 300 plus crypto futures and up to 500x leverage. I personally don't ever trade that much or that high of leverage, but if that's something that, you know, you're interested in, or you have some strategy, or, you know, whatever, they do have that available. Also, no VPN or KYC necessary if that is something that you're interested in. So anyway, like I said, if you are interested, feel free to click the link in the description below and you can go on ahead and get signed up. Now, the last thing that I want to take a look at here for ICP is an X post that we saw actually within the past day coming from Dfinity. Now, Dfinity has done something that is really, really cool, and they're going to be coming out with it. It seems like by the end of the year, if we do watch this like little 15-second intro, we can see they've got their World Computer Show, and it's 2024. So this, to me, sounds like that we're going to potentially be seeing this AI super app thing, whatever. You know, it's been hyped up to be something quite spectacular, and so I think a lot of us have some really high hopes for it. But basically, kind of the theory or the theme of what we've been seeing here is anyone who can speak can build an ICP. Now, if that's the case, I mean, that is unbelievably insane. I mean, this is something that could have very, very far-reaching consequences, even completely outside of crypto, right? I mean, this is something that if this actually is true and it turns out to be what it is, this is going to be something that, I mean, computer programmers everywhere, non-computer programmers everywhere, anybody everywhere is going to want to use this and find it massively valuable. And so this is something where I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing kind of what this looks like, even seeing if I can get my hands on it and try and, you know, kind of test it out a little bit myself. Because if it does work how I think it could, and, you know, how it's kind of maybe been hinted at a little bit, I mean, this could change everything, right? I mean, this changes the complete calculus on ICP's price. This changes the complete calculus on what the ICP ecosystem could do. I mean, it changes everything, right? And so this is something that I'm really, really looking forward to and really interested in seeing kind of how it comes to pass, what we end up seeing from the ICP team, how the app works, all of that type of stuff. As we have consistently talked about on the channel, ICP's tech, second to none, right? I mean, it's very, very, very good. Marketing has kind of typically been their issue. And so obviously, you know, there's people like me and all that type of stuff trying to, like, you know, spread the word of ICP. But ultimately, you know, a lot of that I think is going to have to start coming from them. I think if we see something like this, that in my opinion would be like a mass market capable type of software, they got to give us something. Like, I understand the whole, like, let's focus on the tech type of thing, but, like, the tech's there, right? It works. It's got, like, a target market. People can use it. Like, there has to be a point in which they really start to, you know, allocate some investment into marketing, just because at that point, like, you have something to show the world, see if they're interested, see if they'll use it, all this type of stuff, right? And so that's what I'm really going to be interested to see, kind of what happens over the next couple weeks, couple months, whatever, especially with when the software comes out, because if it does work as well as I think it can, and it might, then I'm going to be interested to see kind of what their strategy is going forward from there. So anyway, hopefully you found the information in this video useful. If you did, please do give me a like and subscribe. It really, really does help me out. I was actually just going over my analytics earlier today, and I was realizing that there's 10,000 recurring viewers of this channel, but I have subs just under about a quarter of that. And so your support really does help me out. And so if that is something that, you know, you're interested in continuing to support me further, a like and a subscribe really does go a long way. Also, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, anything like that, the comment section is a great way to reach me. I do try to read and respond to basically all of my comments. It is getting a little bit more difficult as we have more people that are commenting on the channel, but I do try to keep up on all of them, and I'm just a little bit slower than I was. So anyways, just bear with me on that. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.